teach you something about playing the electric guitar, especially playing heavy metal, which is my favorite kind of music to some way. Not just because I like to hear it, but I like to play it. It's much fun. And I want to show you some tricks how to do it properly if you're a beginner, a little bit advanced and want to improve your playing by somebody who's made a lot of mistakes and went back a few times to correct them. Anyway, today I would like to start with a pretty much easiest thing. We're talking about power chords. You probably all heard about power chords. It's not like on a campfire guitar we strike a whole chord like a G or a D and it sounds beautiful, but here you want to have a distorted sound. So playing too many strings and too many notes at the same time may sound a bit too mushy. Some bands do it though, and it sounds great, but especially if you're playing in a band and everybody plays loudly and with all the range, then it might be not too distinct enough. And that's just where the power chord comes in. I'm not going to show you the basic power chord, but also some tricks and some others which can be used as power chords or may not be, technically speaking, power chords, but are used in the same way. So we're starting with a normal one. You know the one, probably a D, which comprises of 3 strings, and the major nature of it is it's only the bass tone, the fifth, and the octave. So you have 3 chords, and they don't distinguish between major or minor. Clean, distorted. You probably know that, but if not, just try to play them accurately. You can play them with three strings like this, or just with 2. Depends on your liking. If you play with 2, it's a bit less mushy again. So you can only hear the bass tone in the 5th, and they do it. Or you can play the whole one, which is over 3 things: bass tone, 5th, and again the octave. But this is not the only thing you can do. Especially when you're playing in normal tuning, the E is your lowest string. Some bands like to play a drop D. I'm a bit too lazy for that, but I found out that you can cheat a bit. If you play the power chord not with the bass tone, the 5th, and the high octave, if you just play the high octave and the low 5th, then it sounds a bit more, well, grungy or grumpy. I can show you an example. This is a normal E. This is a D. Normally you can't play the D because if you don't play on a drop D, but when you distort the sound a lot, these 2 strings sound deeper, although they're not higher. They're not deeper, they're higher actually, because the distortion somehow gives you the intention of there's a lower key played at the same time. So one of my favorite riffs where this is used a lot of times from Slayer, Seasons in the Abyss. So they're playing these 2, the C and the D, by just pressing down the lowest 2 keys, and it sounds a lot deeper than this, especially when you play distorted. So this is one trick, how to play a power chord that's slightly different from the normal one you hear with 3 strings. Try to do a little bit of that. And just hold around with it. It's also used in higher strings, especially in hard rock and not so much in metal. when you want to play a little bit rocky and a little bit distorted, but not too much. Today we're a bit more advanced. We have death metal, we have grindcore, everything. So you are used to really heavy stuff. And the 80s you weren't. So bands like Led Zeppelin, for instance, or so some bands play chords like that. So that's okay, I think. Today, find out just for yourself what you like best. Art depends on the song, the kind of music you're playing. Yeah, that's pretty much that. Then I want to hint to another kind of power chord. If you don't just want to play the neutral power chord, I would say, but you want to show if it's major or minor, you might also use two strings like that. If you play this distorted, it sounds better, doesn't it? So in this riff you can hear both types of chords, the plain power chords and these, and they're combined, so it gets a bit more interesting probably than just playing neutral power chords. But as I said, it depends on the song. One more power chord, which is not technically a power chord or technically a chord, because it just comprises of a bass tone and an octave. It's also used in popular music when you probably want to put some more stress on what you're playing. So you actually you play it like you have an octave, you just play the octave and leave out the fifth, which makes that sound a bit more pointy. So this technique can be used when you're playing a note and you really want to get it above the others, like when you're playing in a band where the drums are loud, the bass is loud, and where everything just cranks everything up and you can't hear your own playing. Then it might be a good idea to not make it a broad chord, but a distinctive chord like this. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything basics about power chords. And the next lesson we might get into a bit more combining the muting and open chords. Like if you have a power chord, of course you can play open and muted. So either mute one string, which also sounds a bit like a chord if you have a lot of distortion in it, or you play the whole chord. And also we're gonna get a bit into muting anyway, so playing a muted or combining muted chords or even just a string with open chords is a pretty good way of playing heavy metal. It's used a lot of time, you heard it in lots of songs. So yeah, that's what we're gonna look for in the next lesson, depending on how much you like this and if you're going to I'm not using the subscribe word, but if you're interested, leave a comment and I may do another lecture like this where I'm trying to easily explain some tricks and some how to play solo or everything else. So you might even have ideas what you want to learn or what you want to hear about, and I'm gonna probably introduce it then into my playing.